Well, and of course, you like Pablo Riveros, our founder, gave some remarks words before we invited our session.
Thank you, Alan. And Alan, it's joined our team recently. He's doing a fantastic job supporting the community and engagement. So thank you, Alan. Yes, thank you for people joining us today. We will have more founders coming soon, or if though some of the founders will not attend today, that we will record in this session. But yeah, this is part of our second cohort we are doing in Fukuoka. Last year, it was just more about events of landing activities, but this year we also want to bring our founders, our members to present and also to share their skills. And yeah, we have a fantastic mentor today, Anthony. You've been part of the community for such a long time. But yeah, we are very excited to know more about this very interesting topic and session. And we have Nat, Giovanni, and other founders that are very interesting to know more about that. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, thank you very much. So, shall I get started? I think maybe it's a good time to give some insights into the Japan market. So let me get right into that. So let me know. Can you see the slides? Is it all good?
Yeah, it's all good. I think Anthony, if you don't mind interrupt you a little bit, maybe if we can, the founders that are here today, maybe they can briefly introduce themselves to know
Okay,
a little bit more what they do, the startup, just briefly, because that will be very nice for the people who cannot attend. We can share this video with them as well. Thank you.
sure. That sounds great. Yes, I'll definitely introduce myself. Actually, that will be the first slide here. As far as what we're going to cover today, though, my name is Anthony Masaki Kunihiro, and the key topics we will be running through are the business culture in Japan, which is fairly unique compared to most other countries in the world, along with the regulatory environment and the consumer market preferences, and as well as a lot of the myths that we hear about how challenging it is to do business in Japan. I'll be breaking through those. And then we'll also identify the opportunities and growing market sectors in Japan because there are some fast growing sectors, especially involving tech. So I think this would be relevant to our viewers here and attendees. Then also we will look at what is the advantage of being a cross-cultural entrepreneur or a tech talent in Japan. Obviously, there are some advantages of being in Japan, understanding the Japanese ecosystem, as well as the home country or other markets, and bridging that together. That's a unique strength which many people don't realize they have. So that could be put into good use. And then, of course, we want to share what are the ways to find business partners and customers in Japan. This will also be tied up with some of the business models that are common in the tech space in Japan. So I'll be introducing how to build a business model in brief. Then, of course, the key factor, establishing the local presence in Japan, or even better yet, Fukuoka. We want to highlight what is the advantage of Fukuoka versus, let's say, Tokyo or Osaka, which are usually the first place people eye on. So let me introduce myself here. So yeah, I'm one of the mentors at Manabu Hubs. Thank you to Pablo for bringing me on board. As far as my background, I grew up in the States, in Los Angeles, California, and was fully educated in English. However, my family background is Japanese, so I spoke Japanese at home, came to Japan during holidays, etc. I also tried learning Spanish and Chinese, which is it's failed miserably, but still trying my best. And hopefully that will open more doors to our community. And as far as my professional background, I've lived and worked in the U.S. for just a couple of years, mostly during university. and majority of my career was in Singapore and Japan. So yeah, I was in Singapore for about 7 years working for multinational companies, and then ventured off in 2009 to become an entrepreneur, starting in Singapore and then immediately jumping over to Japan, where I founded Epiport Consulting, which does Japan market entry and business development for businesses that seek to enter and expand their business presence within Japan. So yeah, some of the key clients that I have worked with that are notable would include Unilever, which has been in Japan for a long time, but they're constantly introducing new brands into the market. So that's where some of the market entry needs come in every now and then. Pfizer as well, for certain research, vaccines and so forth, and NordVPN, which is how I got to know Pablo and Manabu Hubs, and then yeah, others such as Gore and Ecolab. So through Manabu Hubs, I had the opportunity to also get a Taiwan Gold Card, which is like a business visa to be able to live and do business in Taiwan. So I think for many people that are looking to find a way to live and work in Japan or run a business in Japan from scratch, I'm doing something similar, but for Taiwan. So yeah, I feel that yeah, I'm stepping in to the shoes of many of you viewers today. And yeah, so presently I operate two companies, Epiport and Signet Plus. Signet Plus is a IT consulting company that's focusing on IT consulting services for Japanese traditional corporations and venture companies. So yeah, I think, let's see. Yeah, and advisory wise, I'm also a national IT promotional agency, Korea, Japan expert advisor, helping Korean companies to try to set their footprint in Japan. And of course, Manabu Hubs as the business growth mentor. So yeah, let's go into the business culture in Japan. Please take this with a grain of salt. There's some truth to it, but it's not entirely true depending on how you see things. Like Japan is a very gray type of culture in terms of absolutes. So there's no black and white, it's mostly gray. So what we hear often is, the cultural adaptation is essential when, entering the Japanese market. This is very true. Basically, Japan is a unique ecosystem. It's an island country, island society, which is very closed for centuries. So even business-wise and culture, it's very closed type of culture. But as long as, even as an outsider coming into Japan, as long as we adapt to the culture, respect the formalities, build long-term relationships, and always be punctual and on time, I think this is one of the key traits where most Japanese people in general would highly respect and be able to trust you and be willing to open opportunities to do business with you. Also understanding the cultural nuances. So I think in many cultures, for example, if you give a proposal to someone and they say, all right, I will review your proposal, but there's no yes or no answer. You kind of have to read the situation. So up above in the image, you see reading the air. In Japanese, we say kuki o yomu, which means like reading the room. So you gotta kind of see how the people around you are responding or reacting to how you're giving presentations or the flow of the conversation, and adapt accordingly to that. So that's the consensual part. As far as business consumer preferences, there's emphasis on high quality products, good customer service that is fast and punctual, and straight to the point. And as far as products and services, they should be durable and last for a long time, and have some functionality. So functionality and usefulness is more highly valued over just innovation by itself. But of course, if we can innovate and add these traits together, most likely you'll have a winner and have a leading edge versus competition. And of course, the brand reputation and reliability. As you build your business, the reliability of your brand will translate to more potential relationships and to foster, the long-term growth of your business. And as far as regulations, Japan is one of the most strictest markets when it comes to importing products. It's pretty strict in terms of the Japan customs and regulations, depending on the type of product that is being imported. The certifications, let's say for cosmetics or electronics, there's more steps involved. So it could be tedious for many players. But the advantage to this is if you look at it in a positive light, if you manage to successfully import that product into Japan, you're above most of the competition outside who are trying to bring the product into Japan, but they give up due to all the headaches of the importation process. So I think looking at it in the positive light, it's like a gatekeeper in a way. Another thing is, the business manager visa. Many of you probably heard it used to be like as long as you have 5 million yen in capital to put into your own business, then the business manager visa was fairly easy to get, but that has increased sixfold. But I'll go into other ways to be able to get the proper visas to be able to live and work in Japan. There's many other ways around this. Of course, there's complex tax and labor laws, and compliance is very strict. So please feel free to ask questions along the way, and I'll try my best to answer. Going to the next slide. Okay, so here is the common myths about doing business in Japan. You probably hear, all right, you must speak perfect Japanese to succeed. And you see in the captions, Nihongo wakarimasen, meaning, I don't understand Japanese. That's probably one of the first phrases many foreigners pick up when moving to Japan. I think this is a myth depending how you see it. There's some truth to it, but it can also be a myth because, a lot of people think without perfect Japanese or native level Japanese, the foreigners cannot build business opportunities and build relationships. In the reality, I think as long as you make the effort to speak the language and your behavior and respecting the culture is there, the whole idea is to be comfortable, make the people comfortable around you. And that will help to foster the relationship and have Japanese business people be comfortable with you. Sorry? Did you say something? Okay. So going into reality, certain industries where the need for Japanese is more lenient would be in the areas of tech, finance, and international trade, where there's a lot more international interaction and more English spoken due to these areas being more global as an industry itself. So there's a lot of opportunities there. And as long as you make the effort to speak Japanese and eventually build a team with team members that are effectively bilingual, that will only solidify your business. Another myth, foreign businesses are not trusted and face constant resistance. The myth being Japanese companies avoid working with foreigners or foreign firms. There's some truth, but it's not so much of the foreigners themselves, but oftentimes it could be the foreign entity, the company, especially with a lot of Japanese corporations that are publicly listed. They have lots more compliances involved. So when there's contracts to do sign contracts with non-Japanese entities, it's a lot more difficult to do compliance, and many Japanese companies, especially traditional ones, as a result, they try to avoid signing contracts. This is changing gradually as we become more globalized. But a lot of people have the misconception that it's because it's the foreigner doing it. But yeah, usually it's because it's the entity in the legal aspects. So you see the term nominication. Nomu is to drink, and then the nication is coming from communication. So like in Japanese culture, hanging out with people you do business with, knowing them personally over some drinks. It doesn't have to be alcoholic these days. That will help to build the personal relationship, the business and the personal aspects. If they can come together, then it's easier to go a long way. So yeah, the reality is Japan values more long-term relationships. And let's say if a foreigner coming into Japan establishes a Japanese company, then this business relationship would be involving a Japanese company working with a Japanese company. So then it's a lot easier to establish contracts and actual commercial activities. Of course, the localization aspect into Japanese, not just language, but the user behavior and being able to function like a Japanese company would help to gain loyal partners, as it will be a lot easier to introduce your services and products. So here's another myth. Japanese decision-making is painfully slow and bureaucratic. This is true in certain industries. Of course, you've heard like the traditional Japanese corporations with lots of more Gen X or the baby boomer crowds that are in a hierarchical structure. Yeah, those type of entities tend to take a lot longer to make a decision. So you see in the caption, you might hear kentochu. In Japanese, that means to evaluate, your proposal. So this oftentimes wouldn't always mean a yes or that they're actually evaluating it. It could be a no, but they don't say no. So this is where you need to read the room to assess, okay, are they really evaluating the situation or are they just not interested? So the fact of consensus building with the team as well as with the business partners is very important, and to understand what they're looking for in the business relationship is important when submitting proposal and proposing some sort of business activities. So decision making can be fast for smaller and lean companies, especially startups, small and medium enterprises, and more globalized corporations where the team members are more international and people see the trends moving and are more performance focused. So yeah, I think that's one of the advantages if you want to work with a fast-paced business partner. Going with startups or globalized corporations usually is a good hint that things will move quicker. And often you see slow activities with like larger traditional corporations that have been around for centuries. However, the advantage to that is once you actually establish the relationship, they will try their best to keep the relationship going for a very long time. It could be a lifetime relationship. So it's not always negative. And yeah, sorry, there's a lot of text here. Identifying opportunities in growth sectors. Yeah, please feel free to take a photo or screenshot whenever to reference this later. Let's see. The industries and opportunities here are not based on my intuitions, but it's actually what the government of Japan is actively seeking. They're seeking expertise and skill sets in these key sectors such as digital tech, life sciences, sustainability. Sustainability mainly for the Japan SDGs movement to reduce carbon footprint. So any industry that is going to contribute to those corporate sustainability goals would be, they'll have lots of opportunities. And then, of course, tourism and hospitality due to lots of inbound travel, with our weaker yen recently, this is creating new opportunities. And then manufacturing in areas such as robotics, semiconductors, and of course, the sustainability areas are growing. And then another one, import export. So anything that's unique, let's say, for example, like food and beverage, recently, like craft beers, for example, are very popular all over the world. And in Japan, this movement has been picking up, not just Japanese craft beer, but imported craft beer. So anything unique like this that is not available in Japan, there's opportunities there. Same with wine. Wine is a market that is it's pretty steady, but when you bring unique versions of wine into the market, people are receptive. So there's opportunities there. And as far as exportation, Japanese culture is pop culture is still popular. Manga and anime, stationaries, lots of things that are only available in Japan, are increasing in demand as more visitors visit Japan and want to get their hands on these products. So what's your key advantage as a cross-cultural entrepreneur? Okay, so here there are two guys. On the left is a Japanese business owner that's very successful, has been in the trade for decades and only speaks Japanese, but he's loaded with capital and has good connections to the industry. And then here on the right, I put a Japanese startup founder as an example, instead of just a foreigner coming into Japan, because there's more similarities than differences in this case. Let's say this guy mostly grew up overseas, even though he's Japanese, so he might not be as tapped into the Japanese business circles and social circles. He has more of an international social circle and so forth, but wants to do business in Japan and has a technical skill set. So these two guys could benefit from each other. And this type of symbiotic relationship is something that Japan is in need, and there's demand for it. So it just all comes down to how you identify your strengths and start reaching out and building the bridge. So the cross-cultural fluency is the one factor. The advantage as being a foreigner or international person is you can bridge the languages and cultural gaps and be able to facilitate business activities from both sides of the globe. Being able to leverage trends from overseas before they come into Japan and get lots of insights. It's easy to be a few steps ahead of the game in the Japan market. So it's there's more opportunities to be a pioneer. Then there's the innovation edge, to be able to bridge the language and cultural gaps effectively through technology or products or services. That in itself could be a business. And with these skill sets, there's immigration benefits. It doesn't necessarily have to be the business manager visa where you need capital, but there are also visa categories where if you have a specific talent or skill set, and you have enough points according to Japan immigration, they would fast track you with a visa that leads to permanent residency in a matter of just a couple of years. So there's that track as well. And there's many other ways, which I won't mention here, but we can talk about that some other time. Then high demand skills. There's a talent shortage in Japan, especially in tech. So there's a need for people with more international tech background and education and skill sets to contribute to the Japanese economy to fill in that demand gap. So here we go into the business model. Here is a basic canvas. The whole idea of this is every business has a different business model, but the whole idea is to provide value to everyone within the chain. Value meaning, let's say your service and product should be useful to the end user and be able to provide value with that product or service itself. And of course, the key partners, customers, and everyone within the channels, even the tech specialists building the product, should at least be financially incentivized as well in order for this whole process to work. So we have areas of partners to identify who are your key partners to be able to have a successful business to distribute your products and services. You have key activities where you identify how is your product different from other products that are already out there, but people are willing to pay to use that product or service. Then you have resources, what's necessary to build that product and deliver something which is useful to the end user. Then you have the value proposition. How are those needs satisfied? Meaning that what are the key selling points of the product? How is it going to help make the life of the business customer or the consumer customer easier? So by having this product, they will be more emotionally happier, or maybe their problems would be relieved or solved, or they save time with your product. So there has to be some value there. Customer relationships, identifying how you're going to go out there to build your customer relationships and have a customer base that is going to continue to rely on your service or product. Then customer segments is what is the typical profile of your target customer. I'm just looking at age, household income, family background. Are they single, married? Do they have kids? If it's a business, is your product targeting tech business? Is it targeting governments to improve efficiency? This would be example of customer segment. Channels would be, how does your product get distributed? How does it move from the factory or from your office all the way down to the person using it? Is it going to go directly to the customer, or is it going to go through agents or distributors in the middle that move the product downstream, and everyone makes a cut of the revenue along the way? And so, yeah, in the bottom, on the left side, the most important thing is you look at cost. How much does it cost to make all of this work? And then on the right side, you have how much revenue can you expect to get out of this? And does it balance out to create an overall profit? And next slide will be a little bit more interesting. I'm sorry it's crowded, but I am giving 3 examples that are increasingly popular, especially for the tech space. One is manufacturing and D2C, which is direct to customer model. So let's say you have a manufacturer. I put Bermuda here because they make trendy household appliances, such as like toasters, kettles that boil water. Of course, these are functional products, but they make it look sleek. It's almost like an accessory to put in your living room. So their strategy is they manufacture the product, but they sell it directly to the user on their site, rather than the typical process of going through distributors, retail outlets, and the end user. Of course, they do that as well, but that's another business model. But the direct to customer model, key advantage is, since you don't have middlemen, you can compete more effectively in price setting, being able to control the margins more effectively, and to fully own the entire channel. So there's less politics involved in that aspect. Then here's a second model, which is the advertising model, where you have like a classifieds marketplace, such as Jimoti in Japan, or I think an overseas equivalent would be Craigslist. So you have like a classified site where the user can post a product that they're trying to get rid of or to sell, or a particular service, and they would basically do that for either they post it for free or they pay an advertising fee, depending on how they would want their product to be visible. And then the person coming in to the site, they see the listing or they see the ad, and they're able to access for free, but there's no financial transactions taking place within the platform. So the platforms such as Jimoti or Craigslist, they make money fully on the listing fees, and the actual purchasing process is handled directly from the visitor of the site to the person selling the product. They will make payments outside, such as using PayPal or PayPay. And another model that's interesting is the skill matching platform. So this is like an ecosystem where a particular person with a skill set, such as a freelancer, a tech talent, they post their services on this site, And then the person that is seeking that service, let's say someone wants to build a website or have a illustration designed by a freelancer, will go to the site, such as Coconala, for example, in Japan, and they would find a posting that's done by someone offering the service, and it's free to use on both sides until the buyer decides they want to buy the service. So they'll go to buy the service from the service provider, make the payment by credit card or whatever methods, and upon delivery of the design or the work, the seller of the service receives payment, and they give some percentage of the commission to the platform. So that's how they make money. And there's many other more models, but yeah, these three I thought would be more interesting to understand. And okay, so how to find business partners and customers in Japan? There's many ways to do so, but I've identified some of the key ways to build networks. One, of course, is to work with a specialist, such as a consultancy or agency, or even a freelancer that has access to the network, the business network of your industry or your targeted customers, or they're able to build that channel for you. Secondly, would be like trade shows and conferences to meet people that are seeking business partners in that industry. So to have a booth or a table and to exhibit your services, that can bring in a lot of leads. Meetups such as Manabu Hubs to meet like-minded people, entrepreneurs and specialists who are looking to build their startup or their business. And everyone has their own network and circles and skill sets, so it's a good platform to exchange skill sets, introduce people to each other, and build a network that way. Forums would be another, such as Sushi Tech in Tokyo, where you have many brands and service providers having a booth and exhibit there, and meeting business partners and investors to be able to either raise funding or to bring your product to a particular market. And of course, there's government organizations such as JETRO or Fukuoka City government. Oftentimes, they will offer services and support for free, just so your business can contribute to boosting their economy. So I think this is a good resource to use. Then another one would be like inbound content and media, such as this, a mentor session, for example, and looking at, let's say, blogs that have high traffic, to be there as a guest and post content, or even build your own site that generates viewers and audience. Social media such as YouTube, and there's various media outlets people can engage that are more mainstream, and to be able to post editorials there could get a lot of eyes on there and build inbound leads. Another one would be Chamber of Commerce, joining both the International Chamber of Commerce within Japan, as well as the industry chambers in Japan, such as, let's say, there might be a tech chamber of commerce, coffee-related organization, etc. And you can build relevant networks within your industry. Another would be, let's say, accelerators or incubators to get well acquainted with the startup and business ecosystem of that community, and be able to get introduced to various customers, business partners, and other like-minded entrepreneurs. And of course, referral is one of the strong ones. Once you're established and people can vouch for you, to get referrals from someone shows that there's already a high level of trust in what you can offer. So yeah, that's one of the stronger ones in here. And of course, looking at lead research and outreach, going into various databases and doing some background research to find potential customers that may be looking for your service. So establishing local presence in Japan, why Fukuoka versus that other city in Japan that most people want to set up? Well, I think there are some key advantages there, which are in the next slide. But by establishing local businesses, first consideration is whether to establish a LLC, which is a GK, Godo Gaisha, or a KK, it's like an incorporated company, and finding like a virtual office or service office where you can register your business address, and having a tax accountant because the taxes are complicated, and getting a startup visa if you want to actually live within Japan while running the business. Some people may want to function their business base it in Japan, but fly in and out, so that might not be a need for everyone. Another is joining startup organizations or incubators such as Jetro ISBC. They offer some free advice and even offer like 50 days of office space for you to use while you're transitioning. Startup organizations like Fukuoka Growth Next and some other players out there would be useful. And of course, the city government in Fukuoka is very active in encouraging businesses to set up in Fukuoka. They have a bunch of subsidies that are available every year, and these constantly change. But I think, yeah, Fukuoka has been making lots of efforts there, so it's worth a consideration. Like the office rent can be subsidized to a certain extent. Being able to support and setting up the businesses, introducing your business to other business partners within startup events and so forth. Yeah, those type of support is available. So what's required to incorporate a company in Japan? You hear that all you need is 1 yen to incorporate. That's the paid-in capital in the company. Of course, to do the filings of registering company, it's will be more like 100,000 yen to about 300,000 yen, which is anywhere from 800 USD to, let's say, around 3,000 USD. I think that's a safer number to budget. And yeah, of course, joining startup communities and meetups like Manabu Hubs and Startup Fukuoka and many others would give you the upper edge in building your network. So going to more detail, what's so cool about Fukuoka? It's a more tighter and connected community. Let's say that the community is more helpful to each other. People know each other more, so it's easier to build trust as you're setting up your business. And of course, Fukuoka's city government is well known to encourage startups and new businesses to set up base in Fukuoka. So there's various programs to get a startup visa. The lower cost of living and yeah, just overall lower cost of living is another advantage. It could be up to 50% cheaper than like Tokyo for rents and so forth. The location is one of the key highlights. If you want to expand your business all across Asia, Fukuoka is closer to neighboring countries like Korea, mainland China, Taiwan, and Southeast Asia. So it's a good place to set up and fly in and out. Then there's the Fukuoka government support incentives, including the rent, tax reductions, and exemptions, and so forth. There's more on the next slide on that. So here's some examples. Yeah, I won't read through all of this, but there's the startup rent subsidy. You got the global expansion programs. So you're looking at the blueprint. They'll subsidize up to a certain amount for each of these subsidies. Of course, you would have to apply for them when they're available. But yeah, there's a lot of opportunities when trying to reach out to the Fukuoka city government and asking them what subsidies available to apply for, and if that aligns with my business. And yeah, as far as the slides itself, that's everything. But I'm welcome to receiving any questions or feedback.
Yeah, Anthony, thank you. I think based on in my personal experience, I also want to share something interesting that what happens in my case when I decide to move to Japan, start operations here. is one thing that you mentioned in the beginning is cultural differences and how we can understand when we have a business meeting with the Japanese customers, uh, read the room. And it's such an important thing. In my own experience as a foreign entrepreneur, I got the chance to participate in some business meeting with Japanese people in which I'm not fluent in Japanese, but I have to bring my translator person. And it was exactly what you say, in the way that having meetings with in which in Japan is very difficult to read to read what they are thinking, especially in a very strong traditional business. To give you an example, I was in my co-working spaces, and I had an opportunity to discuss some projects with a big traditional company in Kyushu. And during that time, I noticed that when we started to explain something, I couldn't see the reaction. And that's something that maybe Anthony, you know better than us, because it was for me, it was really, I thought maybe they're not interested in my business presentation. But what happens after the meeting? The staff, the lower rank of this kind of group, they were taking notes, and the person asked me some very specific question regarding to my presentation. So that's something, Anthony. I think you have much more experience than us in that perspective. But it's very interesting to see how Japanese business, traditional business, run those business meetings.
Yes, that's a good point you raised, and there's many ways to assess the interest level of the potential customer or the business partner. First, before the meeting itself, if the presentation or the agenda of the meeting is sent to them ahead of time, that would give you an upper hand to see how they react in the meeting, because they already know what the agenda is about, and they have a chance to internally discuss even before meeting you and with you presenting. When you're presenting, they already know what you're going to present, and oftentimes they already have an idea of their interest level of how much they want to collaborate with you. So while you're presenting, it's if you presented everything ahead of time, you can read their reaction already, because they already they already understand exactly what you're going to say. So that's one way to go about it. But let's say you haven't done that and you go in and present up front. I think one way to assess is usually after the meeting, like what you said, if you after sending a thank you email, if some detailed questions come quickly in the reply, that's a pretty good sign that there's a level of interest and they want to take it a step further. So to facilitate that process, and then see, okay, if they are open to meeting again to answer the questions, for you to answer questions face to face. If they're interested to take in that other meeting for the following step, then there's a pretty good chance that they would want to do something.
Fantastic. And I think it's maybe if Nat is around here, maybe he could have some questions because he's in Thailand and I met him a couple of months ago, part of this program as well, joining us. But he has an exciting product and solution that and a software app that he's planning to expand, and maybe I'm pretty sure that Nat could have some very interesting question regarding to you as well, Anthony.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I'm open to receiving the questions and see what I can do to help there.
All right. If you don't mind, let me share you just, I think easier to understand what I do when you have see the visual. Can I share the screen?
Okay, sure. Let me stop my screen.
Okay, so I think that show up.
Yes.
Great. Right now, uh, my studio is called Aha Lab. So we build mobile app that help transform everyday life, bringing a small joy to tasks in everyday life. Yes, the biggest one, the app that we have right now is called Kanji Card. That try to help people beginner to learn kanji, to remember through picture, like like the small example here. But there are also other applications that we try to develop. This one is for kana, hirakana and katakana, and we also have more fun app like this one called Mood Brush for help create more engagement during toothbrushing time, and we also building a more quick exercise app for office worker. This one also inspired by Japanese Arabic exercise that I saw, and then I just turned it into app. So yeah, for my past background, I've been working with a big company in Thailand a lot as a UX consultant, but in the last few years, I moved away from that part and try to create my own digital product. And one of the goals that I joined this program is how to market this product in Japan. Like I'm planning to localize because this one it is Japanese, but it's for the foreigner, it's not for the native Japan. That I think that one. It's more for broader audience, but for other application, a small one. I think I might try to translate the application and target specifically to the Japan audience and see what happens. So yeah, that a quick introduction about myself.
Yeah, I think it's great. Yeah, thank you for the introduction. And yeah, the apps, the visuals that you showed, I mean, they look very cute and very attractive and easy to use. I think one possible angle that you could consider, let's say, assuming that the localization is done into Japanese and it's ready to be communicated to the Japanese market to get audience. Some of the ways you can consider to get the word out is there are Japanese app review sites that evaluate apps and they test them out. And oftentimes they'll be willing to evaluate your app without you paying for placement fees and things like that, just to get listed, as long as it's localized for the Japanese audience. So that could be one angle to consider to get some eyeballs on there. And some of these sites, they get millions of views per month. So I think those are worth considering. And of course, if going to startup communities and events to be able to showcase that, it doesn't necessarily have to be a booth, but even if you get a like 5-minute slot, such as like in this type of webinar type of format, or in a workshop with audience already sitting there, that could be a chance to showcase your product as well. So yeah, I think these are some ways to get started.
Would you mind share the name of the Japanese review site?
Okay. Yeah, sure. Let me see if I know. I think I might know one on top of my head. I'll share it in the chat. Let me see. Maybe I should share the screen instead.
Sure.
We can also share later your presentation if you prefer, Anthony. We can also
Yes.
in the Discord, and if you don't mind, we can also share it line.
Sure. Yeah, I think that would be good. Yeah, for the other questions, if it doesn't come up in my head now and comes up later, I'll just share in Discord or line. So yeah, this is one site. It's app-liv.jp. I believe this one you can also list your apps to get reviewed. if I'm correct. Yeah, one of these sites that's similar to this. Yeah, you can submit your app for review. So I know there's at least 4 or 5 major ones that are very similar like this.
Thank you.
Yeah, no
That's a
worries.
great tips. I didn't know about that, so that's fantastic to know. And I think it also, Anthony, we have another founder as Giovanni. He's been very recently moved to. I'm not sure if you met each other, but Giovanni is an entrepreneur from Italy. He ran a startup. He's a co-founder, and his company is based in Europe. And I think Anthony, I invite him as well because he has a very interesting deep tech product with a very background, very strong research background. And I think maybe he could briefly mention, talk about his startup and maybe challenges that may, or potential ideas that he could integrate with your presentation in the future.
Yeah, sure, sounds good. Maybe I share. I mean, I don't have a presentation ready. I apologize, but I do have a website. It's good enough. So yeah, I'm Giovanni. My startup is in France, and I'm currently living in Fukuoka by the highly skilled professional visa. And so what we do is we develop these devices that go in the forest. Let's see if I have some pictures. Yeah, these ones. And they are like these little IoT devices. They're optimized for energy, and they really do AI on the device. Before it was cool. And so we use machine learning to integrate the sensor data, but also to do bioacoustics. So like bird species identification from audio data. So we collect this, we send to the servers, and we analyze. And we use this to inform forest managers about ways to better manage risk and manage the forest. And of course, because we do biodiversity, we're also very much orientated towards conservation. But yeah, so my startup is in France. We have projects in France, Germany, Switzerland, but I do currently. Stop presenting this. I do currently live in Fukuoka. My other team members are in Germany and France, and we're fully remote. The reason for me to be in Fukuoka is, first of all, personal interest in Japan. I've been learning Japanese for a while, and I want to get better and better understand the Japanese culture. But also, I see the opportunities here, and I'm actually relevant for this session. I'm one of those founders for which the startup visa is not a good fit because my company is not ready yet to make an enter in Japan. But if we do want to make an enter in Japan, we have to prepare. We have to understand what we're dealing with. How we can bring value here and actually, so bring a product that people will want to use and then it's useful to them, right? So I'm here with a non-startup visa and trying to understand how to set myself up here. So maybe that spurs some thoughts for you, Anthony. And thank you for the presentation.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, Giovanni, thank you very much for sharing the background of of your startup, as well as the goals to eventually have it Japan ready and to bring it into Japan. I think there are a few possible angles to prepare to be able to enter into Japan. One is if you want to enter with your own entity and distribute it directly as the channel, the supply chain, the channel owner, meaning that you set up your company in Fukuoka or in Japan, and then build a team to go out and to find business partners through various methods, whether it's through events or lead generation and so forth. Another possible angle to consider is working with, let's say, eco and green tech or IT related system integrators that are not the publicly listed major companies, but they could be like small, medium-sized companies, but they have connections to the major corporate customers or end users that may want to use the product. So they have the business network, the channels, and understand how to bring a product from overseas into Japan to localize it and to distribute it on your behalf. That's another model you could consider as well. But I think the essential thing is the advantage you have is you're already in Japan in Fukuoka, so you see from a consumer's perspective how people behave, how products for consumers are being promoted, maybe even business products. If you go into a bookshop and you see some business magazines, you might see some ads popping up in the magazine. How do they introduce that product? Or going to international forums to see how companies are introducing their products at at their booths or when giving a presentation. So yeah, doing that research, engaging in the sales or marketing consultancy that understands the Japan market to guide you through the process of getting you prepared to come into Japan and doing the legwork together with you. Yeah, that's another method to look at as well. So yeah, I mean, we can talk at any time within the Manabu Hubs Discord group. Just feel free to drop me a message.
Fantastic. Thank you, Anthony. I really appreciate your very expert and deep response and presentation. I think even for me that I've lived 4 years in Japan, I could learn a lot from you as well. And I think one of the key, if I recap your presentation, it's very important to understand from a Japanese perspective and Japanese people, how run the business here. That's why for me is the value of having you here, because even I'm a foreign entrepreneur, I don't understand many Japanese codes, and I always try to connect founders with Japanese. So it's very important for us as entrepreneur, international founders, get the insight from Japanese people. So I really appreciate. ありがとうございました.
いいえ、どういたしまして。
So Alan, now I think Alan, if he has some, we are almost done with the presentation. I think as Anthony mentioned, we, Giovanni, Nat, and other founders that will join this video, you can continue the discussion. We will create some private channel discussion about this session on Discord, so in which we can be a public, but also no interrupt other people in the chat. So I will create and invite you, Giovanni and Nat, to join that discussion. If you have any question with Anthony, feel free to ask. And yeah, and Anthony, Giovanni or Nat, if you have the last any questions regarding to the session, please, last remarks.
Yeah, I just want to thank Pablo and Manabu Hubs for organizing this mentor session, as well as have the chance to meet and talk with Nat and Giovanni. I think it's good to have this type of session where like-minded individuals are sharing, exchanging ideas and advices. While hopefully I can be of good use to the both of you, I'm also learning from you guys as well. So yeah, just take note of that. We're learning from each other every day. So yeah, I look forward to us discussing further within our Discord group and exchanging a lot of ideas and to help each other out there. So feel free to run through any questions or ideas through me, and I'll do my best to be of good use to you guys.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you
Thank you, Alan.
for joining
follow-
us today.
See you in Discord.
Well, again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And of course, a huge thanks to our amazing guest right now, and especially to our mentor, Anthony, for today's valuable discussion. And of course, thanks to all of you tune in. Your support and participation make this session truly remarkable. And we look forward to seeing you in our next session. And of course, just a recap, our next session will be on September 18 with a mentor, Maria Noel de la Paz. Session details for that will be Startup Club Investment Preparation, Funding, and Valuation. Again, thank you so much, Taker, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, guys.
Have a great
Please
day.
keep in touch on Discord.
Stay in
Thank
touch.
you very much.
All right. Bye-bye.
ありがとう。 Bye bye. Fantastic.